Now when you Google, you get YouTube's, TikTok, Instagrams, Facebooks, Reddit. And so it's the biggest change is instead of just searching for one media, your website and the content that you put on your website, Google is now expanding to multi-platform.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the New School podcast in season 3. So this is going to be a good one because I know we're all wondering the same thing, and that is, will SEO solve all your growth problems? We have clients come to us all the time and they're like, if you could just do SEO for us, we feel like all our organic growth would be handled. Like there's this sense that if you just paid someone to do some SEO work, not really even knowing what it means, just feels like some really technical magic behind the scenes, that all of a sudden all the right people are going to use Google. They're going to search you, they're going to find you, they're going to put their information into your website, and you're going to have lead flow. So this episode is all about demystifying SEO and understanding what it actually is, how to make it work for you, and then how to think of it within the context of your overall marketing and organic growth strategy. So this episode, like every episode this season, is relevant to you whether you're an advisor with 500 million in AUM, sub 500 million, all the way up to the mega RAs that are 20 billion plus in AUM, because that's the makeup of our clients. So we use these same frameworks to guide them. So in this episode, this is what I'm going to cover. 1, why SEO? And answer the question, can you just hire an expert to solve all your search problems? Second part is it just about keywords? It's like, just get someone onto your website and just put on the keywords and then you'll show up. Or what is actually required? We'll also answer the question, how has AI changed the game and how long does it take to start working? So I am joined by an SEO expert. Her name is Meg Clark. She is the CEO and founder of Clapping Dog Media. You can check them out at clappingdogmedia.com. And she says, you have a wildly successful business, we make sure Google finds it. And I wanted to have her on this episode because when I had the opportunity to meet her and speak to her, she was so aligned with us philosophically. So I think you're going to have a real treat getting to know Meg as she answers some of these key questions going through the episode. So the first part we're going to start with is, can you just hire an expert to solve all your search problems? And is it magic or some juju around behind the scenes? So this was the first question I asked Meg. Can you wave a magic wand and get an SEO expert, and then, like her, this is the work she does every day, then all your search problems be solved? So let's hear what she had to say.
Yes. No, I wish there was some. I've been looking for that magic wand. No, absolutely not. No, SEO is complicated. It feels complicated. It also feels like that scammy, like used car salesman. We all get the emails. Even I get the emails from SEOs, quote unquote, that say, just give me this much money a month, and I'm going to get you 20,000 new
leads,
new leads a month. And you're like, it's not true.
SEO, I want that, but I don't think it's true.
I also want to lose 30 pounds and have no gray hair for the rest of my life. I mean, That stuff is just not fair. But really, SEO is a combination. It's a way of setting up your website, setting up your breadth, your ecosystem of marketing that tells Google and users exactly who you are, who you serve, and how you want to be found. And so it's a series of writing styles, putting the words where Google reads them, where they need to be, and honestly being very consistent about it. That, unfortunately, is the fairy dust that I sprinkle on websites for SEO. It's a lot of work.
Meg clearly articulated to us that SEO, there isn't a magic wand or answer. And even as marketing experts ourselves, it can sometimes feel a little bit confusing. Maybe there is like some super technical stuff that we don't know that these experts do. And the reality is, as Meg has validated, that actually isn't true. So when we think about SEO, what you really want to be doing is you want to be feeding the algorithm. So when I said to Meg, well, is it just about keywords? This is what she had to say. If you just update your website with keywords, right, that people search for, like that's going to do it. Like,
no, that's not going to do it. I mean, maybe there was a day where that worked, but the keywords are such a funny thing. Back in the day, I would say 5 or 6 years ago, Google did not understand language. And so it was a pattern recognition tool. Google search was pattern recognition. The user searched for a word, and Google saw that as a series of ones and zeros, and then it crawled the internet for that same pattern. And Google's thinking was, if that pattern appears multiple times on a page, that's a great answer. And so keywords got a lot of value back then. And you saw that it turned into keyword stuffing, and people put the word over and over in order to be found on the top of Google. Well, Google now, as we all know, understands the semantics. It can do voice search. It understands it's that our words are not patterns necessarily. They actually have meaning. And so because of that, I like for everybody to expand their understanding of what a keyword is and have it be more of like a theme or an idea, because Google understands that. I mean, this is a silly example, but a lawyer and an attorney are the exact same thing. And so if you put on your website, lawyer, and somebody searches for attorney, Google's going to know to find you because it understands how language works. It's not perfect, but it does understand language. So the idea behind keywords is, you need to tell Google has a big job. It has to understand what clients are searching for and then be able to match it to all of the gazillions of pages that are on the internet in less than a second. And so its job is to find the best answer to every query. And as business owners, we can make it easier for Google by using clear and simple and distinct words in headlines and titles. They used to be keywords, kind of quote unquote, but now it's your themes, it's who you are, it's your expertise, it's what you do, so that Google can understand who you are and where they should put you in their catalog of memory.
So is there any difference between, people talk about voice search or all these new search? Are you saying like Google understands it all? It's not a whole new way of being. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, as people, we have different tendencies for search. Like if we're talking to Siri or Alexa, we tend to use more words and we tend to search in the form of a question, versus when we're typing it on our phone, we tend to be more succinct and use less words. And as businesses, we kind of need to adapt to that. We need to have one quick clear thing that you can do is have FAQs on your site, because people typically ask in questions. And if you ask in questions and then have the answer, that's going to be found by Google, whether they're voice searching or just typing it in. So my answer is we need to understand how people interact with search and how they go about finding what they're looking for. And that's kind of the heart of it, is understanding how your user is going to look for and find you. And that's different between verticals and in different types of businesses. So you have to really understand, goes back to the fundamentals of marketing, understand who your audience is, understand how they think, so that you can be there when they're looking for you.
So if SEO, search engine optimization, or any of the other terms that come in for search, there's SEM or voice search, or a lot of people are finding you on ChatGPT. We're constantly surprised how clients are starting to find us on ChatGPT. All of these ways to find you, the question then becomes, what is actually required? And so one of the things that Meg and I talked about and that we have the opportunity to work with our clients on is this idea that we're never going to want to chase all our algorithms because the algorithms are always changing. So that's true from a social media perspective. Sometimes people will be like, I just need to create 30-second videos because that's what the algorithm's rewarding. We say, don't chase the algorithms. Instead, you'll drive yourself crazy is the reason why. Okay. It's like chasing the latest fads in nutrition or in fashion. It can just be exhausting, right? So you want to really think about like, what are the fundamentals that are needed? And so if we think about the algorithm, like what is its job? Google's job is to make sure that if people find you. And so how do they do that? How does Google do that? It's all the inputs that you put online. So when I said to Meg, what is actually required, it's very much aligned with how we work with our clients. So it's about being super clear on who your target client is, like super clear. You've got it documented, you've got the psychographic, you've heard me say this a million times. Being really clear on your services and then creating consistent content in all the different ways your ideal client likes to consume that content and then putting it in the places where they are. So for example, if your ideal client loves videos, it would be an incredible opportunity for you to be feeding YouTube, then taking those YouTube videos and creating blogs. And then from the blogs and your videos, creating micro content for your social media channels, maybe on LinkedIn, so that you're saying to the algorithm, but really more importantly, you're showing up in the places where your clients already are. You're giving them high value, super targeted content. And so when Google is doing a search and crawling all these different places, YouTube, LinkedIn, your website, it's identifying, oh, here's a financial advisor that works with engineering executives based in Cincinnati, right? So 3 things that I've just said. Who really cares about what to do with their company stock options, right? So really specific. So if I'm an end client searching stock option help Cincinnati engineers or something like that, you're going to show up. So it's all about the fundamentals and then feeding your online presence, feeding the algorithm so that when people are searching for you, there's enough information out there for them to find you.
A couple of years ago, it was probably 18 months to 2 years ago now, New York Times came out with an article that said Generation Z uses TikTok as their primary search engine versus Google. And I think that article really shook the foundation of Google search in a big way. And since then, Google has tried and is becoming a multi-platform search. So now when you Google, you get YouTube's, TikTok, Instagrams, Facebooks, Reddit. And so it's the biggest change is instead of just searching for one media, your website and the content that you put on your website, Google is now expanding to multi-platform. LinkedIn, let me throw in LinkedIn there. And so what we need to do to adapt as businesses is show up in multiple places so we can take up more than one spot on the search results page.
So maybe you've been listening to this episode and hopefully by now, I want you to get the sense of like, okay, SEO, SEM, voice search, all this sounds so technical and scary, but in actual reality, it's simpler than I think. It's about being clear. It's being about targeted, high value content, consistency, right? So we've talked about one, answering the question, can you just hire an SEO expert to solve all your search problems? Is there a magic wand? We got clear that no, there isn't. The second thing we asked is it all about keywords? So you could just hire someone to do like all these keywords, put it into all your blogs and your website. Helpful, but not the whole picture. Okay, so it's not just about keywords, and think about all the different ways that you search for someone. Maybe you're on your phone looking Google Maps, like locally. I do that. Or I might go to TikTok if I have a question about something. Or I might go to ChatGPT. So thinking about all the ways that people search, the Google algorithm is crawling all of those places. And so the question then becomes is how has AI changed the game? And how is it that people are finding, for example, us at FICOM on ChatGPT, which is like crazy but exciting to us? And how do you make sure that you're not missing that opportunity for end clients to find you using AI?
AI is working on both sides of the equation. It helps businesses be more efficient in creating this web of content. So you can use SEO, you can use AI to create the content in order to be found. And now you can use AI to actually be found. So what's really tricky, especially from a data nerd and SEO, is that it's very tricky to measure the visibility of your result and how much you show up in AI. Google Analytics is not there yet. There are some tools that I'm testing to kind of see the visibility, but all of that to say is we are getting found. We are now getting crawled by more and more AI tools, and they are showing up as answers.
Okay, so fabulous. So at this point, we're really clear that it's about getting the fundamentals right. So if you've been listening to every episode of the New School and you're starting to get clear on what you need to do to grow, the essentials of that, clear target client, where your website fits in, how to use social media and not go crazy, how to create content that's meaningful, all of that, the end result is you should be found on search, whether it's Google or ChatGPT or Claude or TikTok or YouTube or wherever the places that you're showing up. If you're super targeted, super clear, and super consistent, it's going to work. So then the next question becomes, okay, Candace, we got it. It's all about the fundamentals. We're doing it. How long does it take to start working? Like, when will our search results be bumped up? And so this is what Meg had to say.
It can be faster if it's like exercise. If you exercise 3 days a week, that's wonderful. You're going to be in shape in 3 to 6 months. If you exercise 3 to 5 days a week and you do, weightlifting and yoga and cardio, you're going to get in shape faster. So kind of similar. If you do videos and blogs and social media, you're going to get some results more quickly. However, the general rule of thumb is about 3 months to start seeing changes. And after 6 months, if you're consistent, the flywheel will be going, and you're going to grow in organic traffic, which is going to lead to keywords, which leads to organic traffic. And you're going to really get specific on that target audience.
I love that. That's a shorter time frame than we would say. We always say to firms, like, once you start pulling all your growth levers, of which there are quite a lot, and you've got everything up and going, it's kind of like the snowball effect. You build momentum and it gets bigger and bigger. And at 18 months, you're on fire. Like, that's kind of like the longer timeline, right? Where maybe you are getting 10,000 leads. No, you're not getting 10,000 leads. Okay. Right. You're not, but you're getting a lot more of the right fit type of leads finding you, that you can convert easier, that you can have good fit clients, right? Hopefully by this point, you've listened to the whole episode and you've become really clear that showing up in search results isn't about just hiring someone to put keywords on your website, someone who's going to do some crazy technical behind the scenes stuff that's going to bump you up. But if you're listening to this and you're one of our clients, or maybe you are listening to support the marketing that you're doing, really the essence of all of this is you want to make your external marketing aligned with your internal experience that you have with your clients. So really authentically. And so how do you do that? You understand who the top 10% of your clients are, the ones that value what you do, you find fulfillment in working with. And if you clone them so that all of your future clients look like them, you'd have a wildly profitable and viable business. You want to create content, a website, all of your marketing materials to speak specifically to these people in the language that you would normally use in everyday life with them if they were in your office. And you want to create high value content in a way that they want to receive it, and you want to distribute it in places where they already are. If you're doing all of that and you're doing it consistently and you're super clear, you will show up in the Google or the Bing or whatever search tool someone's using. You will also show up in the AI tools. So I think something that's pretty significant is AI might have a different algorithm, and I think we're all learning what that could be, and it's evolving so quickly. but it's still crawling the same places, which is online content, social, third-party media sites, whatever it is, all the places where you're distributing your content, where your website is, or where you're showing up on social media. It's going to crawl that and then pull it back. And over time, you're building trust by posting consistently so that it knows you are for real, that you are legitimate, and that you add high value. I think the wonderful thing about reviews and testimonials is what we're seeing is it's really bumping up people in the search results. And Meg had articulated to me that the reason that's happening is because it's social proof. So we're not only getting clear as searchers and users that yes, you're creating this high value content, you're speaking to me, but other people like me are validating you. So we're seeing a lot of that in SEO search right now. And our clients that are showing up in higher SEO rankings are using client reviews. So I wanted to ask Meg what her final piece of advice is if you're a firm or an advisor and you're looking to boost your SEO. And this is the advice that she had.
Consistently show up and provide value. People, you may think that you are repeating yourself, that you are annoying your audience, but I guarantee they're really not paying that much attention. So you need to keep showing up on LinkedIn, keep showing up on social, keep showing up on your website, being helpful and providing value, and don't be too concerned about being repetitive because people don't pay attention. But when you need to be there and top of mind when it's time for the audience to look for you, and when you're there, when you are, they look for you and they see all of this expertise that you've shared, they see all of your authority, and then it's an easy choice for them to move forward with you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Hopefully you feel completely clear, demystified around what SEO actually is, and it's helpful for you in terms of implementing and thinking about your overall marketing mix. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. We'd love a review down below. This season of the New School is all about supporting you and giving you guidance on how to drive organic growth with the power of marketing in your firm. If you want to hear about other RIAs or other firms in wealth management and how they've driven growth in their business, you can head on over to the Growth Leaders of Wealth Management podcast that is hosted by the CEO of Vicom, Meg Carpenter. Excited to see you in the next episode.